On my birthday, amid the music and the laughter, my little girl clung to my leg and said so innocently, "Mommy said one day, she and I will leave, and only you'll be left behind." The room full of clapping and cheers went silent in my ears. Everyone kept raising their glasses, kept singing, but I just stood there, a stranger in my own home. On the long white table sat a grand cake, iced with chocolate letters, "Happy Birthday, Robert." It should have made me happy, but all I saw was bitter irony. Happy birthday to the man already erased from his own family. My wife, the woman who once promised to walk with me forever, was laughing brightly beside my best friend. They whispered something. She laughed again, a laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in years. And him, the man who once shared my secrets, placed his hand on her shoulder, like he had taken my place long ago. I forced a smile, shook a few hands, but inside, hollow. I wanted to believe it was nothing, that she was just being friendly, that he was just being caring. But my daughter's words had cut the truth wide open. They were painting a future, a life without me. I looked around the room, once filled with warmth and memories, now foreign. Even her eyes, when they brushed against mine, slipped away, quick, like someone hiding their guilt. And in that moment, I realized, the worst pain isn't being hated, it's being forgotten, while you're still standing right there. They say birthdays show you how much you're loved. But at 42, mine showed me I was nothing but a shadow, a spectator, watching my own life carried on, without me. I blew out the candles. And that day, I didn't wish for success. I didn't wish for wealth. I only wished that I might wake up and find out it was all just a nightmare. But it wasn't. This wasn't a dream. It was real. And it was only the beginning of the deepest betrayal of my life. My name is Robert, 42 years old. If you had met me a few years ago, you might have thought I was just an ordinary man, maybe even a little boring. White shirt, blue tie, a black briefcase with worn corners. Every morning, the 7 a.m. train into the city. I worked in finance, dry work, numbers, spreadsheets, reports. But I was proud of it, because from that paycheck, I could provide for my family, buy a small house in the suburbs, make payments on a 7-seater car, and most of all, give my wife and daughter a safe life. Emily, my wife, once said, "You're the strongest shoulder I have." I can still hear those words. They made me believe that if I just kept working hard, everything would be fine. I met Emily in college. She had soft blue eyes, a gentle smile that slowed down the whole world. I loved her with everything a young man had to give. Clumsy, sincere, naive faith that love could fight off any storm. 3 years later, I proposed with a cheap ring, bought with every dollar I had saved. Emily said yes, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. Our wedding was small, no luxury, just friends and family. I remember that moment clearly. She held my hand, and I thought, I will never let this woman be unhappy. Then Anna was born, our daughter. I had never cried so hard in my life. The doctor placed her in my arms, and I felt myself change completely. Not just a husband anymore, but a father. A man who would carry the world if he had to. The early years were simple and happy. I went to work. Emily stayed home with Anna. Evenings, we ate together. Some nights, I held Anna while reading her a book, while Emily stitched my shirts. The meals were never fancy, just stew and vegetables. But the laughter filled the kitchen. I remember one beach trip. Anna ran across the sand. Emily held my hand and whispered, "I don't need anything else, just the three of us." And I believed my life was complete. But then, everything changed. 3 years ago, the company downsized. I was one of the ones let go. One morning, I walked into the office. 30 minutes later, I walked out with a severance envelope. 20 years of service, for a handshake. And good luck. At first, I tried to stay positive. I told Emily, "It's just a pause, I'll find something soon." She smiled, nodded. But there was something in her eyes I couldn't name yet. I sent out dozens of resumes, sat through interview after interview. But at 40, they didn't see me as an asset anymore. I was an old machine, and all I heard back were rejections. Our savings drained. I picked up odd jobs, tutoring accounting, freelance consulting, even stocking shelves at the supermarket on weekends. I didn't mind the work, but I began to notice Emily looking at me differently. She no longer hugged me when I came home. no longer asked if I was tired. She grew busier with her own work, and more often than not, beside her was Mark. Mark was my best friend. We'd known each other since college. He was my groomsman, the first person to hold Anna after us. If I trusted anyone outside my family, it was Mark. But slowly, he and Emily became too close. He drove her to company events, took her shopping, once even picked Anna up from school when I forgot. At first I thought, good thing Mark is around. But over time, I began to feel like the extra in my own family. At dinner, Emily mentioned Mark often. When I asked, she laughed. He's just being helpful. I tried to believe her. I didn't want to be the jealous fool. But my pride as a husband began to crack. The little things piled up. One evening, I overheard her on the phone, her voice low, talking about plans. When I walked in, she hung up quick, said it was just a coworker. I nodded, but my chest sank like a stone. One morning, Anna was coloring. She looked up and asked, "Daddy, Mom said one day she and I will leave, and you'll stay here, right?" I froze, forced a smile. "Tisk, you must have heard wrong." But her clear little eyes told me, children don't invent things like that. I noticed the joint account shrinking, Emily going out more often, and Mark appearing more and more, even in my own home. Every time he walked in, I felt myself pushed one step further, out the door. Some nights I lay awake, staring at Emily as she slept. Hollow inside, I turned to the wall, bit down hard, held back tears. I was afraid. If she saw me cry, she'd only see a burden. I thought of our wedding photo, her holding Anna in the hospital. Those memories cut slow, like a dull blade to the heart. On my desk, the wedding frame still sat there. Every time I looked at it, I felt like an outsider, watching a family that used to be mine. On the shoe rack, the old sneakers we once bought together, covered in dust, untouched for years. I used to think the worst thing was losing my job. But then I realized what I was about to lose was my family. The morning after my birthday, I made coffee, like always. The smell filled the kitchen, but the bitterness on my tongue tasted sharper. I reached for the mug, the one with a picture of me, Emily, and Anna at the beach. But my hand froze. A thin crack ran from the rim to the base. I had never noticed it before. I let out a bitter laugh. Maybe everything around me had already cracked. I just refused to see it. The phone buzzed on the table. A message flashed for a second. 9:30, office, bring documents, don't let Robert know. My heart jolted. Robert was me. The text vanished, deleted right after. But I had read enough. I didn't confront Emily. Something told me, when you suspect, stay quiet, watch. I opened the family calendar on the laptop. There it was, a private entry. 9:30, meeting, locked. When I clicked, the screen replied, "You don't have permission." It felt like I was being locked out of my own life. That afternoon, I checked our bank account. The balance, far lower than it should be. Scrolling through the history, my blood ran cold. Aurora Services, Blue Maple Consulting, immigration fees, location, Vancouver, Canada. I printed the statement. Each line felt like a blade carved into the paper. I folded it, slipped it into my pocket. It weighed like stone. A few days later, Anna sat coloring at the table. She drew a little house with a red roof. Underneath, she scribbled, "Home in Canada." I asked gently, "What's that, sweetheart?" She smiled, innocent. "Our new house, in Canada. Mom said the schools there are amazing." But she said, "You're not coming." I forced a smile. Choked out, "Maybe you misheard." But children don't invent things like that. That night, Emily came home late. When she went to shower, I opened her bag. Inside, folders from a Vancouver law firm, dependent sponsorship, resettlement process, international school transfer, all marked in yellow, complete before September. Among the papers, a small note slipped out. Emily's handwriting. "Lie to Robert one last time. Only 3 tickets left." My hand shook so hard I almost smeared the ink. The note carried a perfume, not the one Emily ever wore. I slid it back, closed the bag, like I'd never touched it. That night, she slept soundly. I turned to the wall, bit down hard, held back tears. I was terrified. If she saw me cry, she'd only see me as a burden. The next day, I went to Anna's school. I asked the teacher casually about transfers. She hesitated. "Actually, your wife requested Anna's records. I assumed you'd already discussed it." I nodded. Yeah, must have slipped my mind. But as I walked out the gates, staring at the blue school sign, my legs felt like lead. The plan was already in motion, and I was the last to know. That evening, outside a grocery store, I froze. Across the street stood Mark, holding shopping bags, Emily beside him. They laughed together, until they saw me. Emily turned away. Mark raised a hand. Hey bro, funny running into you. I just happened to bump into Emily, so I gave her a hand. I forced a smile, nodded. But I saw it. The way he looked at her. Not like a friend. Later that night, cleaning the storage room, I found it. A sealed envelope. Inside, plane tickets. Seattle to Vancouver. One way. Passengers. Emily plus one child. Departure. Next month. I collapsed onto the cold floor. The paper shook in my hands. Memories rushed back like a film, but cut short. That night, my phone rang. Mark's voice, loud, cheerful. Bro, fishing trip this weekend? You've been stressed lately. I gripped the phone tight. Maybe. He paused, then lowered his voice. Emily doing okay? I swallowed. Managed only one word. She's fine. Then hung up. In the dark, I stared at our wedding photo. Her smile mocked me. Maybe I had lost Emily long ago. I just refused to see it. I gathered everything. Bank statements, law documents, transfer papers, plane tickets, the note. I clipped them together, labeled the file, the truth, and locked it in a drawer. It felt like staring at a bomb, ticking. Days later, my phone buzzed with a calendar alert. Friday, 7 p.m. Dinner at Redwood Restaurant. 3 people. Final plan. Tell Anna. 3 people. Not 4. No me. My chest caved in. It wasn't just a dinner. It was the meeting. To explain to my daughter why her father was no longer part of the family. I sat frozen, hands trembling. The clock ticked. Each second, a hammer striking the coffin of my marriage. I knew then, the first blow had landed. I had officially been erased. From my own family. Ever since I saw those words on the calendar. Dinner, 3 people, final plan. I lived like a man on death row. Each day, I clung on, and trembled, waiting for the truth to be spoken. I woke earlier than usual. The faint light slid through the curtains. The kitchen still smelled of birthday cake that hadn't been cleared away. I washed dishes, wiped the table, made breakfast, toast, eggs, orange juice. When Emily and Anna came down, I forced a smile. Breakfast is on me today. Emily looked surprised. She sat, took a few bites, but her hand never left her phone. Each time the screen lit up, her eyes shone, a light I hadn't seen for me in years. I glanced and caught the name, Mark. My chest tightened, but I lowered my head, pretended to focus on the paper. Anna looked at me cheerful. Daddy, the eggs taste better than usual today. I smiled, swallowed the lump in my throat. That evening, I asked Emily for a walk. She hesitated, then agreed. We walked under dim streetlights, leaves crunching beneath our feet. I tried to stir the past. Do you remember when we first got married? How we used to walk for hours just talking about nothing? She gave a thin smile. Yeah, that was different. I stopped, looked straight at her. Do you think we can ever go back? She fell silent, then shook her head softly. Robert, some things, once they fall from your hand, they're almost impossible to hold again. Her words were gentle, but they blew out the last fragile flame of hope in me. One night, Anna sat coloring on the sofa. She drew a family, a man, a woman, a child. But the man stood far apart, his face blurred. I asked, "Who's this?" Anna replied, "Mommy and me, and this is you." But Mommy said, "You won't live with us anymore." I froze, forced a smile. "I'm still here with you, sweetheart." She looked at me, whispered, "I want to stay with you, Daddy." I pulled her into my arms. My chest locked tight. I didn't cry, but my whole body shook. In that moment, I swore, whatever happens, I will never leave her. That night, I tried again. Emily was watching TV. I know there's distance between us, but I want to fix this. I've got a new job. Give me a chance. She turned, eyes dark. Robert, you don't understand. It's not just the job. I don't feel happy anymore. I clenched my fists. What about Anna? She needs both of us. She shook her head. We'll always be her parents, but we're not husband and wife anymore. I sank down. It felt like the whole world slipped from my hands. Days later, I got the call. I had been hired. I rushed home, hugged her. I got it. I'll start over. Things will be different. She smiled faintly. Congratulations. I waited for a hug, a word of warmth. But there was nothing. Just the cold space between us. That afternoon, I saw them, Emily and Mark, at a cafe, sitting close, laughing. From across the street, my heart pounded. Mark spotted me. He froze, then waved, pretending everything was normal. Emily turned away. That moment, I knew. I was nothing but a shadow. That night, cleaning her car, I found it. A lighter. Engraved, M.W. Mark Wilson. My hands trembled. The car smelled of cologne. Not mine. I put the lighter back, sat behind the wheel. In the mirror, I saw my pale face, my tired eyes. I whispered, "Who are you now, Robert?" Later, when she came home late, I asked, "Where were you?" She answered flat, "Work." I pressed harder. "Work or Mark?" She froze, then said, "Robert, don't make this harder. I've already decided." My knees gave way. I sank into the chair. It was the first time she admitted it. Even if only halfway. I didn't sleep. Sat alone in the dark living room, moonlight spilling through the window. On the table lay the folder, The Truth. I opened it. Bank statements, immigration papers, school transfer forms, plane tickets. The note, "Lie to Robert one last time." The lighter. Each piece, a blade to the heart. I trembled, but held back my tears. I whispered, "You have to stay sharp. For Anna." The next morning, while Anna got ready for school, I overheard Emily in the kitchen. Her voice low, rushed. "Yes, Friday, after dinner. I'll tell Anna. Robert doesn't need to know. It'll all be over." I stood on the stairs. My hand gripped the railing until blood rose under the nails. Every word. A knife. Friday. Dinner. Final plan. I knew then. The time had come. I couldn't stay silent anymore. Friday came. The day of reckoning. From morning, I lived like a man awaiting his sentence. Every sound in the house felt louder than usual. Water running in the sink. The knife slicing bread. The sound of Emily's typing behind the study door. By evening, she dressed in a rare emerald dress. Lipstick darker than usual. I caught her eyes in the mirror. They shimmered, with a light no longer meant for me. Anna chirped, "Daddy, whose birthday dinner is it tonight?" I forced a smile. "Not a birthday, sweetheart. Just a special dinner." The restaurant was finer than the places we usually went. Golden lights over white tablecloths. The soft sound of piano. The smell of wine and seared beef. We sat. Just the three of us. Emily ordered. Her voice shook slightly, but her eyes shone, as if waiting for someone. And then Mark walked in, shirt pressed. "Tie neat." He smiled, sat down naturally. "Sorry, traffic." My heart clenched. So it was true. The final plan wasn't for me. For minutes, only the clink of silverware. The faint piano. Emily smiled nervously. Mark leaned toward Anna. "How's school, kiddo? You'll love Canada. The schools there are amazing." Anna looked up, confused. "But what about Daddy?" Emily set her glass down, took a breath. "Anna, you and I are going to Canada. You'll have new friends, new school. Mark will help us settle in." Her little eyes turned to me. The question inside them crushed my chest. I laid my fork and knife on the table, my voice low, each word heavy. "So this is the final plan." Emily froze. Mark glanced, then spoke. "Robert, you need to understand. Emily deserves a shoulder. I can give her what you can't anymore." I stared straight into him. His eyes didn't flinch. "What are you saying?" My voice trembled. He said calmly, "You can't provide for her or for Anna. I can." The blood in my veins boiled. I wanted to lunge across the table, to wipe that calm look off his face. But under the table, Anna's little hand gripped mine tight. I looked up, swallowed the rage. From my jacket, I pulled a black folder, opened it, laid each page down, one by one. Bank statements, immigration fees, school transfer papers, one-way plane tickets. The note, "Lie to Robert one last time, only 3 tickets left." And finally, the lighter, engraved M.W. Each paper hit the table like a hammer. The red wine rippled, spilled across the white cloth, like blood. I looked at Emily. My voice cracked. "You thought I was blind? I know everything." Emily broke down. "Robert, you don't understand. I was so tired. I didn't feel safe with you anymore. Mark gave me what I couldn't find in you. Mark put his hand on her shoulder, looked at me. I love her, Robert. You should let her be happy. Anna burst into tears. No, I don't want to go. I want to stay with Daddy. Her cry tore the air. People turned to stare. I held her, her small shoulders trembling. I looked at them both, my voice calm, cold. You can betray me, but Anna, she's not a possession you can take. Emily sobbed. Mark stayed silent, his stare defiant. I gathered the papers. My fingers clutched the folder tight. I stood, my words slow, sharp. Emily, you can leave, but if you try to take her, you'll have to step over my body first. The air froze. Emily covered her face, crying. Mark leaned forward, then pulled back. Anna clung to me, sobbing. Daddy, don't let Mommy take me. I lifted her into my arms, turned, walked away, each step heavy. The sound of my shoes echoed on the wooden floor. Behind me, I heard Emily cry out my name. Mark muttered something, drowned in the piano. Out in the lot, I set Anna in the back seat. She still hiccuped through tears. Through the glass, I looked back. Emily stood inside, eyes red. Mark's hand on her shoulder, pulling her close. I gripped the wheel. My hands trembled. In the mirror, I saw a hollow face, eyes burning red, like coals. I whispered, "For me alone. The real battle starts now." The car carried me and Anna away from Redwood. Silence filled the cabin. Streetlights slid past the windows, cold streaks of light. In the rearview mirror, Emily and Mark shrank under the restaurant awning, until they were gone. From the back seat, Anna sobbed. Her little hands gripped the cushion, as if letting go would mean I'd vanish too. I caught her red eyes in the mirror. My chest twisted. "Don't worry," I whispered, voice raw. "No one's taking you from me." She nodded weakly, then drifted into exhausted sleep. I carried her inside, tucked her in, her face still streaked with tears, clutching her teddy bear. It felt like someone had carved a hollow into my chest. Down in the kitchen, I sat in the dark. On the table, Emily's coffee cup. The faint trace of lipstick still on the rim. I touched it. Cold. I almost hurled it against the wall, but stopped. The shatter would wake Anna. So I just sat, let the cold seep from my palm deep into my bones. Near midnight, the door opened. Heels clicked across the floor. Emily stepped in, froze when she saw me. Her hand shook around her purse. We stared at each other. Only the clock ticked. My voice low, hoarse. "How long were you going to keep lying to me?" She dropped her bag, eyes red. "Robert, I'm sorry, but I can't go on. I've made my decision." I let out a hollow laugh. "Decision? To drag our daughter away, leave me behind? Did you even think of her?" Her voice trembled. I did. "I just want Anna to have a better future. You're not strong enough to give her that." Her words cut like a blade. My hand slammed the table. The glass rattled, sharp, against the silence. Not strong enough? Do you know how I clawed through after losing my job? How I buried every tear, so Anna would never see her father broken. And you? You chose to leave. Emily broke down, cupped her face. Her sobs woke Anna. She padded to the kitchen doorway, small frame trembling. "Daddy, Mommy, please don't fight." Her eyes shone with tears. The sight froze us both. I rushed over, pulled her close. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. We never meant to hurt you." Emily knelt too, stroked her hair. Anna shook her head, sobbing. "I don't want you to split up." In that moment, I felt myself ripped in two. On one side, betrayal. On the other, my innocent child. 2 days later, Emily's mother came. She sat tall on the sofa, her gaze sharp. "Robert," she said slowly, "my daughter has endured enough. She needs a new start. You should let go." I stared back, my eyes cold. "And me and Anna? I'm not a shadow to be erased." She sighed. "Heavy is the truth. You are her father, but Emily is her mother. She has the right to choose the child's future." My fist clenched, but I said nothing. Arguing was useless. That night, after Anna slept, I faced the mirror. A hollow face, stubble on my chin, eyes dark, sunken. I whispered, maybe Mark was right. Maybe I couldn't provide for her. The reflection stared back like a stranger. I saw myself, jobless, frozen before a blank screen. I saw Emily's disappointed eyes, her long sighs in a silent kitchen. Tears fell. But then Anna stirred. I wiped quickly, peeked into her room. She slept sound, clutching her teddy. I kissed her forehead. Maybe I can lose everything, but I will never lose you. One afternoon, Mark came, white shirt, gift bag in hand. I opened the door, eyes like steel. "Robert, we need to talk." "I have nothing to say to you." He sighed. "I know you hate me, but Emily has chosen. You can't hold on forever. I can give her and Anna a better life." I stepped closer, my voice low, firm. "You can take my wife, but you'll never take my daughter. Hear me?" His grip tightened on the bag. His eyes flashed, but he said nothing. I slammed the door. The sound thundered through the hall. Late that night, my phone buzzed. An email. Harper and Lane, family law. Custody case filed. Preliminary hearing, 2 weeks. My hand shook. I printed it, placed it on the table. Emily stepped out, saw the paper. Her face went pale. We locked eyes, like two blades clashing. No words were needed. We both knew. The battle for Anna had begun. The first hearing ended in heavy silence. I don't remember every word the lawyers traded. What I do remember was the judge asking Anna, "Who do you want to live with?" She clutched her teddy. Her red eyes darted around the room, and she whispered, "I want to stay with Daddy." Her words didn't just echo in that courtroom. They carved into my chest, like a sacred vow. The court gave no verdict yet, but Emily couldn't meet my eyes. And Mark disappeared, maybe hiding from the whispers. Life fell into a rhythm. Half the week Anna was with me, half with her mother. Every time she held her backpack and asked, "Daddy, who am I staying with tonight?" I forced a smile and felt another crack split inside me. At night, after she slept, I sat alone. On the table, Emily's old coffee cup. I'd scrubbed it again and again, but that faint lipstick stain never left. I kept it, like keeping a scar. Some nights, I stood in front of the mirror, hollow face, dark circles under tired eyes, and I whispered confession to myself. If only I'd listened sooner, if I'd been stronger, if I hadn't left her alone, maybe she wouldn't have walked away. I blame her betrayal, but I abandoned her too. I lost my wife, but I must stay a father. The words broke me. I collapsed over the sink, and for the first time in months, I let the tears fall. One evening, Anna and I sat on the porch. The cold wind swept past. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Daddy, does Mom still love you?" I was quiet for a long time, then answered, "I don't know, but I'm grateful she existed, because without her, I wouldn't have you." Anna smiled faintly, closed her eyes, and whispered, "I'll always love both Mom and Dad, but I only want to sleep next to you." Her innocent words shattered me. I pulled her close. My eyes stung. That night, after she slept, I opened the drawer. Inside, the folder marked "The Truth," my tear-stained journal, and 2 wedding rings. I took Emily's ring, locked it in a small box. I kept the wedding photo, but removed the frame, and pinned only Anna's smiling face on the wall above my desk. So every morning when I wake, I remember why I'm still here. I sat down, wrote in my journal, "There are losses we'll never reclaim. I lost the woman I loved, but I still have my daughter, and the love I give her, no court, no man can ever take away. From this day forward, my life is bound to one promise. Daddy will always be here." I closed the journal, took a deep breath. Outside, the city lights flickered. Inside, I heard Anna's steady breathing in her room. I knew the road ahead would be long and painful, but in all this wreckage, one thing remained unbroken. The bond between father and daughter. I whispered, "A final period to this chapter. You can walk away, but the love I have for my child, no one will ever steal."